Jason Collins for free throws. He has 8 to get that 4th win to move on to the next round.
Get a day to rest and then go again.
Tim Thomas, one-on-one move on Kenyon. Hard foul by Jason Collins, and Thomas hits the deck hard. It will be called a flagrant foul. And a little come check on Tim Thomas, who went down in a heap. Dangerous play, and they did call flagrant right away.
Before I see it on replay, Mike, I don't think that was a flagrant at all. And we're gonna see, but it looked like Jason Collins just went up to try and block the shot. That's tough because I think they probably made the proper call. I don't think Jason Collins tried to hit him, but when the hand comes across the neck, then I think you probably have to call it, even though there was nothing malicious about that.
Well, his hand came close to the face, and then, of course, the fall was so dangerous. And I think what the NBA is trying to do is take away situations that are dangerous.
There's a flagrant one that was called. The Knicks medical staff out to check on Tim Thomas, so as they do, we'll step out for a minute. Two very gingerly and with assistance. Is just a moment ago been walked over to the Knicks bench and up the tunnel to be checked out by the Knicks doctors. A flagrant one called on Jason Collins.
Basket that matchup as he did there, and then it comes to the penny. There's Jason Kidd with a reach-around foul. And a rookie that we've been talking a lot about now coming in, Michael Sweetney, out of that school named Georgetown. And we've got a technical now called.
Joe Crawford with a very, very short fuse.
It's on Rodney Rogers.
Play was already over, and Rodney taking a little bit of a swipe there. And I believe, two former teammates there, Rodney Rogers and Penny Hardaway.
But I'll tell you something. I like the way these officials are starting off calling this game. I thought that during certain points of the last game, it became very ridiculous, some of the physical play. I think what they'll end up doing is backing off a little bit, but they're setting the tone so basketball can be played as opposed to a lot of the foolishness that went on last time.
And, John, you said this before. Players will adjust once they know how the standard's been set.
You know, a lot has happened in the series the last 2 days, ever since that takedown by Tim Thomas, and yesterday at practice, he let his feelings be known.
For the simple fact that he's fugazi. I mean, all the fake tough guy role. I mean, I hate it, and especially in the NBA, because as soon as something happens, you got 12 to 13 guys to protect you and a little scuffle. So, I just think he's fugazi all around.
Well, fugazi means phony, and Kenyon Martin had his response today to Tim Thomas. He said if you put the two of them in a door, lock the door rather in a room, he says the one that's coming out would be Kenyon Martin. Well, Tim Thomas also got a response today from Stu Jackson, Director of Basketball Operations. He called Tim Thomas, voicing his concerns about those comments, and said, listen, that incident is long over. Let's not let take on a life of its own.
All right, Craig, thank you. And there's very, very doubtful that Tim Thomas will be ready for Game 4 on Sunday. Lucius Harris, that's going to be a push-up on Kurt Thomas. He could get a T. That will be his 3rd foul. Are they going to call the technical?
I believe they're going to let him get away with it.
Boy, he's very fortunate.
He put that whistle in his mouth.
He gave him no check, I think.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
There it is. So his 3rd foul, as he also picks up the technical, and Thomas was pushing off. There was no question on that rebound inside.
Well, see, and Thomas is very much in a lot of ways like Kenyon. Both of those are upbeat, fiery guys. You don't want to do something like that. That's just absolutely foolish. But Thomas is also a guy that you want to have on your team if you have to really get out there in a tough game.
For Shandon Anderson, dangerous pass. Kidd comes up with it. Up it comes now to Jefferson. A hard foul by Shandon Anderson. Yeah. He was upset at himself for that terrible pass at the other end of the floor.
But that's a good foul. There's nothing wrong with that foul. Richard made a mistake by he should have known that a foul like that was coming and should have gone up a little bit stronger and not made himself so vulnerable here.
Well, and I think everything is right on the edge, but again, I know I'm being repetitive with this. I think the Knicks are flirting with trouble playing this pace with New Jersey.
I agree with you, but right now they
well.
they can't help out. They got to now jump out and guard Kirk Thomas.
Kidd moves in and he strokes that one and he cuts it to 2, and we've got a foul now. Marbury and Kittle's tangling. Marbury voicing his displeasure to referee Michael Smith.
That's 2 former teammates there.
And we got a double technical here.
See, Marbury wants to be very careful right now because the Knicks have things going their way.
I think it's just a technical on Marbury. That's who it's on. Stephon picking up the tee. Kidd will go to the free throw line.
Yeah, and on the replay, that looked like it was every bit as much Kerry Kittles as it was Stephon Marbury.
And you know what? It might be, but at this point when things are going well, you let it go. You voice your opinion and then you let it go because what's at stake is winning this game, and this is extremely important for the Knicks emotionally. They've been playing so flat, and as you said, they haven't played this well before. Don't get caught up in a lot of foolishness now.
They had 7 technical.
The Celtics and Pacers series, and things a little physical early, and Jermaine O'Neal really didn't like it, but O'Neal, the bucket there. The dunk and more O'Neal.
Boston had no answer for O'Neal down there. He's just too big and strong. Here he gets a nice little technical foul, but he was fired up.
Jermaine O'Neal fired up, and as Bill said, no answers for Jermaine O'Neal, Greg.
Well, none. The game came down to who was a bigger and stronger interior team, and that's what Indiana has the advantage.
Makes it a difficult matchup on both ends.
Chris Min with the foul and the recovery on the free throw miss. Jones sticks the 3.
And that's probably the greatest improvement to his game as we take a look here. Hunter and Jermaine O'Neal kind of mixing it up. And you can see right now, big Hunter, Brandon Hunter, trying to muscle O'Neal, and O'Neal takes exception.
And a timeout taken. Perhaps as the loose ball foul is on tempers will cool. They call a loose ball foul on Brandon Hunter. And a technical foul on Jermaine O'Neal. The officials today, Bennett Salvatore, David Jones, and Scott Foster. There you see Bennett Salvatore talking it over with Jermaine O'Neal.
I mean, you look at the size of Brandon Hunter. You know, you need that toughness right there. You can take a look right here. Jermaine O'Neal, here's where it starts. This Hunter just keeps pushing him out, trying to muscle him. And right there, a little bit of contact. Hunter once again trying to push him out. This time he just pulls him away, throws him down.
You know what happened. John Carroll sends him in the game and he says, look, put a body on O'Neal.
Oh, absolutely. That's what it's
so
about.
That's what he was doing.
It's about muscling, but that time Hunter got caught up and, you know, the foul was called, but O'Neal retaliated, and that's the thing that the officials saw as well. You know, this is all about poise and composure right now. Jermaine O'Neal has to recognize he's a marked man, and when a guy like Brandon Hunter comes into the game, you know, he's got to be ready for those types of tactics.
Physicality picking up here in game 1 as Jermaine O'Neal has been the brunt of the attack.
Well, obviously the Celtics have to find a way to compete on the boards. You see Yuri Welsh with the elbow right underneath or right above Jermaine O'Neal's right eye. But you know what? This is playoff basketball. You know, you're going to have to face that intensity, and particularly after last year when O'Neal dominated at his position. You know, they got to find a way to neutralize, and they're going to do it with physical play that were detrimental to them. Spread the floor one-on-one, no regard for the other guys on the floor.
There's another foul call on the inside. This one is on Stewart, who just came in. Michael Stewart with his first foul, and the Pacers get back to the free throw line.
I think Stewart got the same marching orders as did Brandon Hunter. Got to put a body on somebody. And they're just a little too much body.
And Chucky Atkins was teed up as well for Boston.
Well, Chucky Atkins, we talked about him being a holler guy. Michelle alluded to, you know, his presence in the huddle earlier in the game. But you can't be a holler guy out on the floor, particularly if the target of your frustration is the official. You got to be able to rein that one in, not give up any more easy points.
Reggie Miller making the technical. 8 points for Miller.
Meantime, Rockets and Lakers. And
Joey Crawford, he's a trooper.
Yep, he left and then came back later. Some tingling in his calf. They said he was all
Tingling
right.
in his calf. Wait, Joey.
There's some tingling in
it's time for Joey to
Boston
retire.
Nutbar's calf too, and some
Joey
tingling.
used to be a lot tougher than that.
Some tingling in Karl Malone's calf there too.
I don't know why Carl get mad. That was a clean block.
And the Lakers have 4 in double figures, 22 from both O'Neal and Fisher, 21 from Bryant, and 12 from Robert Horry. Shaq punches one in, but that will not count. The foul was assessed inside, and it goes on Jackson, who's got his second.
And Shaq and Jackson are saying sweet nothings to each other. I love it.
You don't want to wake up Shaq. I mean,
You don't want to hear what they say and leave it to
Shaq will leave, and Mark Manson will come in.
You're absolutely right. Leave him alone. That's what I like about Jackson, though. He touches him, he pushes, he does a lot of things to irritate Shaquille.
Comes Bremer down the lane. And Antoine Walker is off the court. Was he having some problems over there, John?
It looked like he was arguing with somebody in the stand. They were restraining him a little bit over there.
It's Richard Jefferson with the Martin screen and a rebound by Delk. And now we've got a fight in back of the Boston bench. At the top of your screen, you can see it. And people are having to be restrained. A three-point shot will not go in. And a fan has been taken away. Somebody in the stands, I think, went after Antoine Walker. And the police now are over there covering that story.
Well, you hate to see something like that happen in a ball game.
Walker is talking. Watch this now as he goes down, and a fan will come in and attempts to work his way at Antoine Walker. And he has to be restrained. And the security caught him just in time. Timeout. On that display in back of the Boston bench, we showed you before a fan coming in and going after Walker. Who that fan was someone going after the guy that Walker was having a confrontation with. So Walker just finishes his battle, and then this guy right there comes out of the players' ticket section to go and battle the guy that was giving Walker a you can see Walker saying, hold off. And see, he's yelling at the guy that Walker was having his confrontation with.
Well, it's absolutely no place in the game for that. And I'm just glad to see that Antoine handled himself as well as he did in that situation.
Who's going to win this series?
Rockets in 6.
Okay.
Because of Yao.
How are they going to win it?
Yao.
Okay. Wow.
Greg.
I think the Lakers win this series. Again, I don't think Houston's really mentally ready for what the playoffs bring, and that's something that only experience can give you.
Lakers in 6, but I don't understand what's wrong with Bill Lambert.
It's confusing. I mean,
I don't understand
and
it.
you know what?
Something's wrong
You
with
can't hate a team that much that impairs your judgment.
He has been working. He has been working hard all day. He's been sweating
When's the last
profusely.
time any of you won an NBA championship, please?
When's the last time you won one?
Thank you. When's the last time you won 1990?
He
Well,
dropped
this is a
the
new
ring.
record. I got 2.
Excuse me.
Two trophies.
I'm a journalist. That doesn't apply to me.
That's right.
He put ring on it.
I'm a journalist. That doesn't apply to me.
WNBA ring now? Is that what you're showing?
I got one of those too.
Wow. Celtics have got to get moving. They're down 26. And Pierce attacking the hoop, draws the foul, and he goes to the line.
And look at the subtle messages being conveyed right here in the last couple of possessions. Wells setting a hard screen, letting folks know that he's still in the game and will continue to do that. And here on the drive, putting Pierce to the ground right here. And Artest doesn't even turn to help him up, acknowledges the foul. But that's telling Paul Pierce that, you're not going to have it easy despite the deficit. I'm not letting up one bit.
Well, with a fake on three-point territory, feeding Desmond Mason. Good block by Collins. Jason Collins with the block. And here is Kittles open for three. Loose ball foul, and they'll go the other way, and shoving going on between Irvin Johnson and Jason Collins, and guess what? We have more technical fouls in this game.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. Technical fouls in this series?
There were 8 in the last game alone. There have been 13 in the last 3 games by the Milwaukee Bucks. And Irvin Johnson called for the technical foul. Look at that list of technical fouls and personal fouls coming into this game 6.
Just 3 points you're giving away. I don't understand it. I really don't. And here's the replay. Collins slapped the ball out of Irvin Johnson's hands. Irvin Johnson just discarded him. Technical foul. I think that's a legitimate call by Derek Stafford.
I agree, and the personal was on Rodney Rogers.
Demeanor, I think they live like off a kid's demeanor, that they're more poised.
Desmond Mason with a swooping layup defended against Jefferson. Again, a 12-point lead, and they're going to go the other way.
That was an offensive foul on Richard Jefferson. He was running down the court.
Mason.
Right, he pushed Mason and discarded him. Here, Mason, great cut, great pass, and then they get into it. And just as I said, that the poise of the Nets reflected their leader, Jason Kidd, Richard Jefferson takes an unnecessary foul.
The only thing I saw was Desmond Mason getting up out of bounds as if he just reported into the game. And now Jefferson and Desmond Mason are mouthing off at each other. So this game picking up where it left off throughout this series. Irvin Johnson called for a second foul and a timeout. Chaos here in Milwaukee as the Nets lead by 12. And the crowd getting into it. It established here in the third quarter, 16 points. And there's Kerry Kittles trying to get around the screen and fouling. And now another technical foul is called. So Kerry Kittles called for the foul.
And technical was on Sam Cassell for giving Kittles a little shot after the play. You see here the handoff by Mason. The foul obviously by Kittles, and then Cassell with the little blow to Kittles. So another technical foul for the Bucks.
And that is the second technical in this game. They have 13 in the last 3, and Irvin Johnson and now Cassell here in the second.
What's interesting is they have a lot of playoff experience. They know how heated and emotional playoff games are. They've got older veteran players. It's surprising that they're reacting to the physical contact and the officials' calls like they are.
I don't know if it is, but he definitely gave the motion.
Scott Williams, who's down.
Great ball movement here. Again, Manu Ginobili, Johnny on the spot, making all the plays for this team. Malik Rose in the right place at the right time.
Where he's been this entire half.
I tell you, he's roamed on that baseline the entire first half.
Scott Williams injured on this play, this foul on Kevin Willis.
I tell you, this looks a little serious. I don't know if he caught an elbow in the jaw, but definitely saw Scott Foster, the official, motion as if it was a flagrant.
Okay. We have a chance to take a look at it here.
Oh, yeah. Kevin Willis definitely led with the elbow. That was pretty blatant there, JD.
Yeah. A flagrant foul called on Kevin Willis, who was in the game simply as a caddy, as it were, for Tim Duncan, just to play out the final 50 seconds or so.
I tell you, that could end up being a huge play. You get 2 free throws and the ball. You know, you complete both of these, you're down 4.
Kevin Willis has been thrown out. I don't know if he knows this yet.
I don't think he does. And I tell you, that's going to be huge. Remember, David Robinson has 3 fouls in this first half. Tim Duncan picked up 2. You know, and the way Phoenix plays, they're not going to stop attacking. That means that's going to be more fouls for San Antonio and thusly not as many bodies to combat those fouls.
When we had the replay, it looked as if Scott Williams was grabbing to the outside of the neck area along the right shoulder as he went down.
Yeah, that's never pretty. I mean, and that's a dangerous play. You got to remember, these are huge men running at full speed, and basically Kevin had that elbow extended, and Scott Williams runs right into it.
From a different angle.
Yeah. See, there it doesn't look as bad. But the first time, if we could get that first replay, it looked as if he led with the elbow. I'm not saying he's trying to hit him in the face, but he definitely was trying to make sure there was contact.
Now, Scott Williams, as you saw in that replay, was holding his neck. We'll be back with San Antonio up 8.
I think gives you a much better vision. Oh, yeah, he definitely led with the elbow. You can see it there. You couldn't tell as much from the other angle, but I tell you, he looked like he just ran in one of those Lennox Lewis straight rights.
To give you, Kevin Willis was thrown out. There you see him going to the San Antonio locker room. Greg, you had a good point early. These guys... To give you, Kevin Willis was thrown out. There you see him going to the San Antonio locker room. Greg, you had a good point early. These guys are so big. In fact, Scott Williams' nickname when he first came to the Bulls was Tank.
He's as big as a tank,
and
too.
he's played that way throughout his career.
Pistons still maintaining the high shooting percentage, 56% from the field. Magic at 26%. Kemp is hammered on the inside. And Okur had something to say.
Well, they got to understand, Okur's not going to back off. He's a tough player. Kemp is in there with him, but Okur's not going to walk away from him.
Mehmet Okur, who played in the Turkish Professional League. Rookie, originally a second-round draft pick in 2001. And Sean Kemp headed to the free throw line. 74% on the regular season.
Nice job with the officials. I just watched Sean Corbin go over and make sure Mehmet Okur understands. All right, we can take the emotion, but there's a line. Don't cross it.
Here's Kemp. Gets the roll. Magic now 5 of 5 from the free throw line as Okur picked up his first personal. 2 out of 2 for Kemp. And some pushing after the free throw.
Well, that's Drew Gooden and Rebecca.
Gooden just walks away, in fact, jogs away.
They just, I think, gave him double technicals, though. See, the officials are going to stop that. Or did they call it on Rebecca? Yeah, they did.
So Zeli Rebraca gets called for the tee. It was Okur on the previous play that got into it with Sean Kemp, then Rebraca and Gooden. And Rebraca is the one that gets called for it.
Well, does he lock arms? Okay, it's right there. You see, they're locked arms. Oh, the official missed that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they miss them, and they missed that call. Because Drew is the one that locked his arm.
You're either looking at a no call or a double foul.
Or just, hey, guys.
Play on.
Play on. This is playoff time. Let's play.
Okur battles for it. Pistons looking to break. Hamilton.
Oh, that's a flagrant 2, I believe, in ball.
Richard Hamilton got knocked down to the floor.
When a guy is in danger of getting hurt, the officials usually call that a 2. Rip jumps up. Said, I'm ready. I'm ready. Oh, my goodness.
And the officials will look to sort it out. Sean Kemp backs away. Hamilton is going to the free throw line.
See, the tough part about it is when you go up and a guy he can lose his legs. So maybe they call it a flagrant 1. Because the flagrant 2, you're gone.
Yep, flagrant 1.
Yeah.
And Hamilton at the strike. Sean Kemp tried to plead his case.
I thought it was Garrity who came over. Well, actually, it's both of them. I'm telling you, he is lucky. Lucky that he's young. Because I'm telling you, he takes a tough fall here. A little stop and go. Gets by 1.
There was the right arm of Kemp.
Right, and he really was just going through him.
To Penny Hardaway.
The Nets seem to be reluctant to go to their own offensive boards. They don't have any, and they're getting back fast as if the Knicks are going to run on them.
Foul on Kittles. Let's go back to that last play by Marbury a moment ago as Kittles has committed the foul. Now we've got a technical on Stephon.
Ill-advised. Ill-advised.
Very ill-advised.
Everything's going in their way, Rex. I mean, why do that now?
I agree, Coach. Everything's going their way. Steph just gets a foul called. He's getting ready to either go to the line or take the ball out of bounds. They got a new possession, and it gives Jason Kidd a chance to take a free throw.
Well, let's go and look at what maybe really got him excited that precipitated the technical.
Well, as you see here, Steph drives. Now, this was the play before. There was nothing there. But he drove in the lane just a second ago, and he gets hit a little bit. But nothing at this stage of the game, when you're up by 4 or 5, and things have not been going your way in this series, nothing can make you do that.
And particularly because everything is going your way right now. And he's the leader of the team. I mean, you use your temper. You don't lose your temper out here. I mean, it's a strategical thing. When Coach Lawrence Frank was arguing with the official, he got the next call because he backed off.
Yeah. Well, it can be a real momentum breaker for you. You're playing well, and all of a sudden you get the tee at a very, very peculiar time.
Watching her finger right to He wasn't kidding. He was fouled.
Back, it's like, hey, here, try again.
Allen Iverson poked in the eye.
Again, going back to how do you stop these guys? You either step on their feet or you poke them in the eye. Anything else and they're impervious. Nothing bothers them.
It's interesting to watch Larry Brown. He wouldn't even look at Allen. You're not hurt.
One-on-one basketball gives you a better chance to score instead of coming down and trying to go one-on-one with the defense set.
Snow objecting, and there's a technical on Hamilton. Snow objected.
Yeah, he objected with his body. He didn't have to say anything, but you saw that chicken wing come out. He was unhappy with the contact. Here's the incident. Right there, Hamilton slapping down.
You know, I think he's still objecting to the fact that Allen Iverson mauled him down here a couple of minutes ago. And he was upset about that. Of course, his family and friends are here. Cost him 62 tickets during the regular season. He was not that successful for a playoff game. And there as he yanked on Snow's hand, he sort of pulled him back. And
well, I don't think you should get a technical for getting wrapped up with a guy. This is playoff basketball. Now if he says something back to Snow and they start jabbing each other, jarring at each other, well, that's a whole different story. But getting a technical foul for fouling a guy is stretching it just a little bit.
Now we're going to let Eddie F. Rush explain to you why he called a technical foul on Rip Hamilton.
Contact after the whistle blown.
Yeah, well, how about the other thing you said? What was that? What did you
He called a foul out top. He contended, and then you fouled him. Technical foul. Dead ball foul. That's the rule.
So Eddie F. using the rule book, dead ball foul. Second whistle, technical on Rip Hamilton, and you can decide as to whether or not it was a dead ball foul. That would be
well, you know, players always argue their calls, and no one in the history of the NBA has ever fouled anybody. But I agree with the Hamilton on that call. I mean, it's contact, and you're going to have contact come this time of the year, and the fouls are going to be a little bit harder. And you know, you save those technicals for the big ones.
Celtics led 69-65 after 3.
The one thing that is never spoken enough about is that when a team breaks down defensively, it's usually because their offense is broken down as well. Defense is an energy part of the game. And when, two technicals on Jermaine O'Neal.
Did he tee him up once or twice? Bob Delaney getting an earful from Jermaine O'Neal. Now Rick Carlisle's going to walk over. So they have called one technical on Jermaine. This was just signaled the second time to reaffirm the call. As Paul Pierce knocks down his first free throw.
That was a technical.
Well, apparently Jermaine had something to say because it wasn't very demonstrative. Obviously couldn't hear what he was saying. It has been deafening inside this arena all throughout this.
Difficult guard because of the fact that he can get to the free throw line, he can shoot standing, he can penetrate, he's got a mid-range game also.
Nice block by Kenyon Martin, 3-on-2, led by Captain Kidd. Bounced away and knocked away with a Boston foul, as that's the only way you can get in front of him.
Well, this is great defense, but you know, Kenyon Martin was called for a foul for a lot less contact early in the half. Right there, great block, excellent defense, but I like the fact that Antoine Walker went out to try to get his 4th foul.
Well, it shows that he's conscious of the fact that he is in foul difficulty in doing that. But, you know, you really have to give praise to Jason Kidd. We talk about the speed, the intensity of the game, but this guy is good in half court.
So Walker and Pierce are going to have to help in that responsibility of bringing it up.
Pierce with the drive, the subsequent collision into Collins as Dick Bavetta stands between the two and separates him. And Pierce again will go to the line underneath.
And he travels. Tremendous defense by Collins and Harris. Lucius Harris has been so valuable to the Nets this year, off the bench with his scoring, but he too can play defense. A technical foul is going to be charged to Lucius Harris. And Sam Cassell will head toward the free throw line as Harris continued talking with Joey Crawford. Well, it's a test for Byron Scott now to read Harris. He's obviously very upset. He took on about the last official in the NBA you would want to make a passing comment to. And Joey Crawford puts up with nothing.
The second half. All right, thanks, Cheryl. For the parade to the line by both teams. 18 free throws by the Sixers, 15 by the Hornets. And as Van Horn reaches for that rebound, a foul is called. That's his second. A lot of whistles.
He was going to defend Allen Iverson. He wanted to body up. Very physical. So far, it's paid off. And Paul Silas absolutely loves Robert Tech. He says, here's a guy who's, like you said, Mark, has only played in 28 games, doesn't know when his number is going to be called, but he's so professional that he's always going to be ready when he is called.
However, Charlie, he just picked up his 4th personal foul. He has been very, very aggressive, and a technical foul has been called on the head coach, Paul Silas. So 4 fouls in 11 minutes charged to Pat.
Well, Paul doesn't like is he feels that all that talking Allen Iverson was doing to the officials eventually paid off on back-to-back fouls.
They're striking it well. It's not a lot of goal. Here is Rich for 3. And away from the ball on the floor. And Hill getting involved, and Dan Crawford with a warning for Tyrone Hill, and then Eric Snow comes over to try to cool him down. Foul is called on Hill, his second, and now a technical foul. Too late, and Iverson and Snow are both upset with their teammate Tyrone Hill. They're really upset.
Yeah, and Larry Brown may make a substitution just to get him out of the game. If you're going to cost your team points on the floor, then there's no place for you out there. You cannot lose control of yourself. Substitution coming in, Skinner for Hill.
See the reaction of Iverson and Snow. Right in the face of Hill. Davis accelerates. And Crawford says stay right here. The call against the 76ers.
You see what happens right here. Iverson standing is hit right in the face by the left elbow of McGlure. That has got to hurt.
Foul committed by Snow to Paul. Nice firm with the lead, and McGlure puts it down.
He's getting back to it. That's a technical foul right there on Allen Iverson.
And now Keith Van Horn looking to settle down Allen Iverson, who earlier was upset with Tyrone Hill for picking up a technical. Iverson felt he was fouled a moment ago as he hit the floor, and then has something to say to the official, Monty McCutcheon.
Mark, go back to the beginning of the game. Remember early on, Iverson ran up to deny Wesley the ball, playing defense on full court pressure, and Wesley kind of knocked him to the floor at that time. And again, it was Wesley that put Iverson down. This time, Iverson said a little too much. The official responded.